and the news announced it had fallen in its own footprint an hour before, 25 minutes before. They said it's fallen from fires in its own footprint, a total collapse. That had never happened in history. Happened 3 times that day, and we have the footage. Multiple newscasts, police saying, get back, they're blowing it up. I mean, and that building was FBI, CIA, Port Authority. That was their command base.
That was the command base, and that didn't happen until 5:20 that evening. Is that kind of scary? You know, we look at the top 2 buildings that fell. And let me tell you something else that you can pull up and look. The next day, that was on the 11/12th, on Wednesday, the San Francisco Chronicle ran a front-page story where Mayor Willie Brown of San Francisco had been warned not to take that Tuesday morning flight into New York. Now, at the time, nobody said who warned him. We know now it was Condoleezza Rice. Now, that was a front-page story. Do you know no other paper ever ran that story? Now, you go back to that Friday, which would have been the 14th. They had another front-page story in the San Francisco Chronicle that said that ex-Secretary of State George Shultz had received information on September the 4th, September the 7th, that building was going to go. And nobody ran. Here you got the Secretary of State saying, yes, I had information. Front page story in the San Francisco Chronicle, and no other paper picked that up. You have put options and call options. Now, my grandmother wouldn't know what that is. That means that today you and I can bet that we believe that Sears Roebuck stock going to go up, and we can put $30 million. If it goes down, we lose it. If it go up, we got a gravy train. On the day of September the 11th, there was 6,400 people that had bet the day before that the United Airlines stock would go down. There was 6,000 some people.
It was triple. It was triple the previous record put option, not just on airlines, but against American and United specifically. And then it came out in German papers. Buzzy Krongard, executive director of the CIA, his firm had made the majority of the bets.
Well, here's the problem. In order for you to make a bet, they have to know who you are so they can pay you off if you win, or know who to collect it from if you lose, right?
Yes, sir.
How come nobody's ever brought those folks in for a hearing to find out? The other thing is, in your home state, when that what am I trying to say? The astronauts, when their rocket blew up over Texas, remember that?
Yes.
And they was announcing, if anybody take anything away from the crime scene, that's a felon, because this is an open crime scene. And yet, here at September the 11th, they took all of the debris, they carried it to a little mafia place in Brooklyn, that's who was doing the hauling, put it on barges, and then shipped it to China. And nobody's been indicted for interfering with a crime scene. And so when you stop and think about, how they do it, and all of the papers, we choose sides. This is a good paper. This ain't none of them.
But let's not forget who ran security on the World Trade Center, Marvin Bush's company. But his contract ended September 10th. But let's go further. Newsweek and AP reported Bush signed the launch order to attack Afghanistan September 10th, and they attacked Kabul the night of the attack. How did he have the aircraft carriers 2 months before ready? How did he have 44,000 U.S. troops in Tajikistan, Uzbekistan? How did he have his brother declare martial law in Florida the day before?
Yep. I mean, when you stop and think about, it's so open and plain. But then I go back to what I said before. When you have a nation that's 1/6 of the world's population, but consumes 94% of the world's hard drugs, that's not counting alcohol, nicotine, and caffeine. And let me tell you something else, brother. Every 30 seconds, you and I have been talking, a woman in America has been beat up by her boyfriend or husband. Not no Taliban. So when you stop and think about this country we call America the beautiful, there's a whole lot of things have to happen before this country gets back to be the beautiful country that we want to believe.
It's become America the Babylon.
Yes. Well, I put it better one than that. You know the story of Simon and Gomorrah, right?
Yes.
If this God don't do something to America quick, then God owes a serious apology to Simon and Gomorrah. So somewhere, now here's where I fit in. I'm looking at this, and I'm saying, oh, God, when you take those, listen, we spend trillions of dollars a month for security. And you tell me some snotty-nosed punk, little dudes from a foreign country that can't speak English, most of them ain't never been to college, can slip in. It's just like the Mexicans coming across the border. Look, if you got Mexicans coming across the border, can't read or write, never been to school, if they can get across that border, what is the KGB doing? What is French intelligence in Britain? They're not doing nothing because we're not going to permit them to come across. So when you see these folks coming across the border, they're not coming across because they love America. They're coming across because they're coming over here to get jobs. And if I came to Austin, Texas today and opened up a liquor store and only sold liquor to 13-year-old children and down, if you're 13 and 9, you can buy whiskey. If you're a cop, you don't come and arrest the children, you arrest me. So why are we going to arrest the Mexicans coming over the border instead of arresting the people that's luring them over with jobs? And you do that very simple. If your company gets caught hiring illegals, you lose the right to do business for 30 days.
But they don't want to stop it because they want to drive down the wages.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying the American people is bitter with the folks that's coming through for the jobs instead of being bitter. It's a funny thing about American mentality. We will always attack the underdog. Do you know how many people I speak to, man, is fighting for your life? Oh, man, look at, man, can you believe he's taking on this and he's taking on that? One person with courage has always been the majority. And so consequently, when you stop and think about, and see, you're too close to understand your influence. I'm out here, I try to do 250 days a year. I travel 24 hours a day, and your name keeps coming up. Man, I heard this here. And see, it's kind of interesting. When I go to a doctor I trust, that I thought my headache was a headache, and then you tell me it's a brain tumor, I don't need no second opinion. I trust you. Well, that's the way people feel about you across this country. They trust you, and so people who don't have the research and the finances to do the research, they pick it up, and they know, and then they promote it to their mother, to their friends, to their children. And so...
And well, let me ask you this question. I've now discovered from insiders that Glenn Beck is taking what Oprah Winfrey does and what I do, and he has a team that fuses it together and then puts a pro-torture, pro-war, pro-patriot act on it, and he's now copying but twisting. What do I do about that? Because I feel dirty that my message that I mean to be good and pure is being turned into a counterfeit.
Well, let me tell you this here. Let's say you own General Motors, right? And I'll go buy me a Cadillac and use it to stick up a bank. Ain't a damn thing you can do about it. You're not making it for me to stick up banks, but when I buy it, I got a right to use it as a getaway car. so it just makes us smarter and slicker and hipper. And so there's nothing you can do about it. But you see, all of this will be exposed. Look.
Well, Dick, stay there. Dick Gregory's our guest. Amazing. DickGregory.com. We're going to get into a whole bunch of other issues on the other side. Stay with us. Amazing interview.